Alright, guys. Forgive this late start. Just waiting on a couple other dudes to come. But I think I could start it off. See if anyone joins the chat. In the meantime, I'll give you guys a brief intro as to what we're going to talk about today. So, what's up, YouTube? This is FJ. And we meet up every week, Thursdays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. It's called the BrackCast because our circle of, I guess, closely knit friends, we're like a gaming circle, gaming group. We go by Team Brack, and so we called it BrackCast. It's a podcast where basically we get to meet up every week, kind of keep ourselves in touch with each other, but it's not just hang out, because I mean we all kind of regularly go on Discord and we hang out here. But we also, we've grown up, we've matured over the years, and I think we have some really cool insights on life or different aspects of life. So that's why we have like various topics every week. We like to discuss, anything comes down to really, really serious stuff, political stuff, controversial stuff. But we try to make it fun sometimes. Like every 5 episodes, we'll come onto the podcast and just do something fun. Usually some form of mukbang where we eat a lot of food and talk about something fun. So we've done some movie reviews or trailer reviews where we'd react to upcoming movies or something like that. That's like more of the chill ones. Or last week where we had like a chicken McNugget themed mukbang where Warren was trying to eat 100 chicken McNuggets in one sitting. I think he got to 80, and which was cool. Um, I think he means chores. But I think he did 80 in the sitting and then did 20 later on that night. But as a team, we totally cleared 100. I think I had I had 20. Kyle had like 18. Dan had like 20, I think. And then Warren chewed up 80 on his own. Anyway, today, back to on a serious note, I wanted to talk about rejection. I don't know what came up. It's kind of just a random thought. Usually like to meet up to at least discuss earlier in the week what we're going to talk about this week. And I don't know, something for me prompted rejection. Probably the dating app scenario experience. With the pandemic, what I've noticed is a surge of new users or new accounts on these dating apps. But at the same time, too, there's a surge of fake catfishing scam dating accounts or accounts on these dating apps too. So, kind of wanted to just touch on that. See, I mean, if anyone joins in on chat, if anyone watches this later on, wants to share any stories about what they've encountered on these apps in the last year, you know, it's hard to go out there and socialize. I think things are opening up in other countries now, other cities. Toronto is still on stay home order, lockdown, whatever. What's going on? But from what I've experienced, being at home almost all the time, um, work's been pretty quiet. As an event photographer, there's not really a lot of events to shoot right now. They're starting to again. They're still very small micro events where it's like a couple hours coverage, or it's just like you can't have more than 10 people gather at an event, at like a private event in whether it be a synagogue or something like that, or a church, place of worship. I think maximum's 10, and they're pretty stringent on that, which is good. I mean, that's what it should be. people following these protocols. I'm kind of on the fence about it now at this point because they should have went hard on it in the beginning. The whole zone thing where different colored red zone, gray zone, green zone, whatever, all these zones in random cities wasn't really effective because people would just go to another city if they really wanted to. Um, I think small businesses, medium-sized businesses, aren't the ones really contributing to these numbers. This is a personal opinion, guys. I mean, I'm not doing crazy research here. I'm not tallying and making my own, claims and based on like researcher or information. But from what I take it, like the rise in numbers is not happening in business establishments who are following protocol. They're following rules, social distancing, masks, they're sanitizing. You've got alcohol, hand sanitizer everywhere, and it's responsible. It's happening in the private events in these private sectors. At least this is what I think. You know, Granted, it's not always like that. I know people did catch the new variants. People caught the new people still caught COVID, in other ways. School is another touchy subject. Anything where you have a bunch of kids, children, students coming in, you know, this whole bubble thing doesn't work when you implement something like that where they got to go to school. So you introduce a lot more variables in that scenario. You go shopping, grocery shopping, if you're going to work with a lot of just, you know, random bystanders or like customer client base. Yeah, it's tricky. But then if you wear a mask, social distance, 6 feet, you shouldn't be catching it, and all these people shouldn't be getting it. But man, long weekend, the weekend before that on the beaches and the parks, it looks like a normal summer. I I have to admit too, I'm going out there. I'm trying to enjoy the weather, trying to get out of this place too. I think it's important for mental health that we go out and like get some sunlight, socialize. But I don't find myself just getting in close proximity with people I'm not really familiar with or people I don't know. There's a certain level of trust and caution and like what's the word I'm thinking about? I don't know. Certain level of I suck at words. Anyway, you kind of have to make the call. You weigh your risk. You weigh the risk. Everyone's weighing their own risk personally, even though you have these stay-at-home orders. Clearly, it's not happening. I went downtown, um, to go skateboarding at a skate park, get some practice in. Went to see my nephew and my sister. I live alone, so technically I am allowed to do this, and I don't have a lot of exposure to other people on a regular basis. And driving downtown on the DVP, Gardner, all these signs on the prompt, like the teleprompters or whatever they are, saying to stay home. You get to Lakeshore, you get to any park, skate park, like it's active TO too. So that's weird. You get active TO running, long weekend celebrations. You got all these teleprompters saying stay home. Nobody stayed home. Like, well, maybe some people did stay home, but for the most part, people were out. People were enjoying the weather. I saw, like picnics, small gatherings. I guess whatever the order is, 5 people outdoors. Who's really governing that? I think everyone's fed up with this stuff, and I'm fed up with it too. I'm just kind of ready for some change. Hopefully the vaccinations are bringing confidence with people again to come out. I have not yet been vaccinated. I have not even scheduled or like organized for me to get vaccinated yet. And it's not so much because I'm not anti-vax. I believe, the vaccination is important. It's just with my level of exposure out there or in, the practices that I've been holding for myself. I don't think there's urgency for me to get it. I'm not about to go to work in like a crowded wedding of 50 to 150 people in some reception hall. I mean, even if I did, I'd still wear a mask. But yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. I'm not going grocery shopping all the time. I'm staying at home a lot. Take out, eating. I think safely. Even like yeah, with my friends, we're all just meeting up online. So I'm not planning on traveling anytime soon. I feel like this whole travel thing will be the reason why I'm gonna end up. Um, I just realized my sound is off, guys. Here we go. There was some background music, and I didn't have that playing because sounds right now is on my headphones. Anyway, so yeah, I think I'm hoping to travel early next year, February time. That's the plan. That's the hope. And so I know it's gonna call for a vaccine at that point because I don't want to get tested. I don't want to get a swab shoved up my nose. That's still the weirdest thing, guys. Obviously, like these content what is it? Exposure numbers, how easy it is for people to catch COVID. They still haven't figured out like a breathalyzer test for it. Obviously, you're not gonna be putting your mouth on something random and then I can see the waste. That's probably why. The waste of having to deal with anything we gotta blow into something but maybe even just use the same swabs. Just run it on some guy's cheek or the tongue. Why are you shoving it almost to the brain through the nose? I haven't been tested personally, but from what I've heard, it's not pleasant. Or I guess it depends who's administering the test itself. But I am not looking forward to if I ever have to get tested for COVID. So I'd rather get vaccinated than get tested. I don't know if that's kind of counterintuitive, choosing a vaccine over a test. But what's going on here? Anyway, rejection. So, we can start with something formal. So I'll do this, guys. For example purposes, why rejection hurts so much and what to do about it. I think this is more so in the dating aspect, but you could kind of come across rejection in a number of different ways. You could, let's say you're applying for a job, you don't get it. That's a level of rejection. Even the simplest form, if you're relatively young and you're home and you need permission to do something, go out, or you need to ask for something. Even asking for a loan at a bank, asking for a loan from your parents, or applying for a job is another one. And then I thought also too, another example is like trying out for a team, like a basketball team in school, trying out for contests, competitions, dance competitions, singing competitions, and just not making it. All these different ways where we, I guess, have a hope. We establish some sort of hopeful outcome, and it doesn't come, right? And a lot of people cope with these differently. I guess particularly today, I wanted to focus a little bit more on the dating aspect of like even the different phases of the dating aspect, the online dating, like getting on the apps. You might be swiping right on a bunch of people, and not matching is a form of rejection. It feels like there's that level of hope where you're gonna swipe right, and you want to match. Usually, from what I've seen in the experiences of the male versus the female in these apps, guys are building up a queue of likes, right swipes, whereas women have a bank of right swipes waiting, and it's just a matter if they're going to swipe right as well to match. So how say Tinder or whatever app you're using, You get to go in this random pool where it's like hot or not, right or left, right? Um, so you have that scenario where you get to kind of just choose based on your preferences. But a woman in general, as long as she's decently attractive, she'll be on the app Tinder. She doesn't need to go on the random left or right. She just has a list, probably hundreds, maybe thousands of likes, where she'll go into that list and just choose whether or not to reciprocate. Because it's almost yeah, it's guaranteed that those are lists of people that are going to match with you. So that level of expectation's different. We have still this random like, oh, it might match, it might not. Sometimes maybe, well, yeah, the app lends itself to even tell you when you have likes waiting. If you don't have a lot of likes waiting, then don't expect that your upcoming swipes are really going to be that active in terms of matches. You're probably, again, just building up your queue of right swipes until hopefully you match. I like to think I'm picky, and I don't know what it is. I'm not. I guess you could say a way of putting it is I'm not getting a lot of luck in these apps. If luck is part of that, I think there's a lot to do with the algorithm and the metrics, like your age range and your target range and radius and all that stuff. But over time, the less results you produce on these things. But like myself, when I first started these, restarted these, like I did these years ago, and when I was younger, it was a different experience back then, before COVID, I guess, and before this new norm of, I don't know, dating is so different now. But like the hookup culture and the casual relationship culture has been very well adopted these days. But I don't know, I guess it takes a certain person to want to participate in that. Oh, okay, so we might not have people join us for a little bit. That's okay. But yeah, I can't lend myself to want to participate in that. Not to say that I would be like that I would reject. See what I did there? That I would reject an opportunity to do that, but not looking for that. But I think when you put that out there that you're not looking for that, then obviously you're going to have even less kind of interactions on these apps or on this experience online. So yeah, over the past year of being on these apps again, low percentage of I'd say swiping right. And I attribute that to me being relatively picky. But then and a far lower percentage of matches. And then you have to also take into account that a percentage of those matches are also scams, or at least from what I've encountered. I've somewhat developed a profile kind of formula where I can now detect whether or not this account that you might come across in these apps is fake, or is like, one of the scam ones trying to get you to get into investing or an exchange or whatever that, or crypto or whatever it is. But that's another video. I already have a video about that. Catfishing and scams on online dating. That's a video that already exists on my channel. But yeah, I've had to deal with rejection, guys. I've had to deal with a lot of it in the dating scene in the past year, which has been humbling. Very, I think I attribute the fact that I'm still able to kind of like laugh about it, talk about it publicly like this too, because I've developed some self-confidence, some Self-worth. That is the biggest thing I think that helps with dealing with rejection, is how you evaluate yourself first. Because if you have a low perspective, or like low self-confidence, low evaluation of your own self-worth, you're not gonna deal with rejection very well. Okay, because it gets a little bit self-destructive. I don't know, you might choose to react in a way that's like, okay, well, what's wrong with me? Why? I put this out, Anyway, we'll get into that. Guys, let's read this. Why rejection hurts so much? I'm curious to read about this too. I typed rejection in Google, and this was the top. Here, I'll show you. I typed rejection as a search in Google, and this was the top result. Why rejection hurts so much, and what to do about it. Psychologist Guy Winch. Oh, his name is Guy Winch. I thought it was a psychologist guy. Shares some practical tips for soothing the sting of rejection. Rejections are the most common emotional wound we sustain in daily life. Daily life, yeah. Our risk of rejection used to be limited by the size of our immediate social circle or dating pools. Today, thanks to electronic communications, social media platforms, and dating apps, each of us is connected to thousands of people, and any of whom might ignore our posts, chats, texts, or dating profiles and leave us feeling rejected as a result. I was going to touch that, because now it's not even straight up like a direct interaction with somebody where you might feel, I'm putting out this effort towards someone and they flat out be like, sorry, I'm not interested. Or like when you go up to someone at a bar or at any establishment, if you're shopping or whatever, and you ask for someone's number and they say no thank you. Or, I don't know, you make moves, right? That is a direct level of rejection. It's clear. It's definitive. You just got rejected with your advance, and better luck next time, whatever. We can touch on dealing with that. But nowadays, it's so meta. There's so much subcontext to getting rejected these days. Whereas even posting a photo on Instagram or on Facebook, the hope, at least this, I don't know, it's been ingrained now in posting on social media, but the addiction, the dopamine hit of getting a like or a comment or a share, that level of engagement. And when you don't get any of that, let's just say it's not a very successful post, not a very popular post, that in itself, I would consider is like rejection from your followers, rejection from your community, rejection from, the public of what you've made, I guess, an effort to try and like put out there. Hello, Doctor's here. Yo, we got Paul up in this his A. Thanks for coming, man.
I'm just I sold my one of my exercise bench on Facebook Markets. I'm just waiting for that guy to pick it up. So
nice. He's coming now?
Yeah, sometime soon, like the next 10 minutes or so.
Cool. All right, man. You know the topic.
Rejection, right?
Yeah, rejection. Hey, Kyle's here too. Oh, we got a party now, guys. Tuning in.
Party of 3.
All the single dudes. I'm
actually taken now, man.
Hey, congratulations. Good for you. No, I'm happy for you, dude. That's good. Yeah. I was just running the fort for the first, I don't know, 20 minutes.
All good.
I found this article on Google. Some practical tips for soothing the sting of rejection. I was I talked about first how I think primarily what I wanted to focus on, for me anyway, personally, is the whole dating version of rejection. But it's in, it comes in so many forms, I brought up the example of like even asking for a loan from your parents or from the bank, you get rejected. Or you try out for a basketball team, you get rejected. Or you know, any competition, so you think you can dance. American Idol, you get rejected. Applying for a school, you get rejected. Applying for a job, you get rejected. I was just touching on the fact though that, and this article talked about it too. It said, today, thanks to electronic communications, social media platforms, and dating apps, each of us is connected to thousands of people, any of whom might ignore our posts, chats, texts, or dating profiles and leave us feeling rejected as a result. And when you got in here, Paul, I was saying about like even just posting on Instagram, just posting a photo. You know, you anticipate some sort of level of interaction from your followers, from your friends. You know, that dopamine hit, whatever it is, something has been ingrained in us to want to get a like, to want to get a comment or a share or some sort of reach, I think they call it reach. And if you don't get any, that in itself is a form of rejection from the public, from your circle of friends, from your followers. Of like, it's not either, it could be ignored or whatever it is. I don't know, guys. Like when I started Instagram 2013, 14, it was different. Like you could get a lot of likes then. Like what you post was seen, it was accessible. But nowadays, you post something on your feed, the engagement is like super low because it's probably saturation. There's just so much, you're not gonna get it in the search, whatever that is. The browse section or whatever it is, you know.
Didn't we talk about like how people are just using stories now anyway? Like it's more of just watching Instagram stories and actually like posting.
Well, that's what it's become, because now we get this same kind of hit just by seeing people seeing our stuff, just seeing it, just, oh look, this person saw it, and we add meaning to that too, where it's like there's value in being able to see someone's story, or even value in hiding yourself from showing the person that you saw the story. And there's like websites that design itself so that you could be incognito viewing other people's stories. It's the meta and the subcontext of all this stuff is crazy now. But now with the introduction of reels is what is the stuff that really gets, you know, like TikTok. Basically it's TikTok on Instagram. That's really the only thing really getting in engagement these days, because it's short. You can easily repetitive. Like I don't know if they count every replay as a view. Do you know if they do? I bet you they do. They have to. I think TikTok does. So if you watch something for 6 seconds and you're like, huh? And you watch it again, that counts as 2. You watch it again, 3, whatever. It just keeps replaying. The algorithm's messed up. Nope.
Sorry, I just heard my guys on the way to
He's there. Yeah. It's alright.
Yeah, my bad. I got nothing on the social media stuff. I never post. I never get the like. I never do stories. I don't care about the social media thing. So
that's good.
I have nothing.
You don't expose yourself. Yeah, you're not exposing yourself to the chance of getting rejected.
Yeah,
I'm very similar like that with girls. You can't get rejected if you don't do anything.
you don't go out there. You don't put it out there.
I mean,
because
like,
before,
yeah, on dating apps especially, like, you know, just, as guys, you just have to get used to the rejection. It's just so like you'll get rejected like 50 times over. You know what I mean? Like,
and again, I don't have any dating apps ever. So like, why did I even think I should join this podcast?
It's not just that though. It's not just that though. It could be anything rejection wise. I think on a more personal note, what I've experienced, in the last year for me, because I'm not necessarily applying for new jobs right now. I'm not applying for loans, right? Well, yeah. I did apply for one job, and it was weird to get rejected because I hadn't applied for a job in like a decade, and that was weird. But at the same time, it was relief. I'm like, did I really want an option there to change my career or whatever? And it was good. They made it easier. I didn't have to consider it. But what I was talking about is how different it's been in the last year for my experience on these things, compared to the dating scene before apps, before pandemic, where you can go up to a girl, be like, hey girl, how you doing? You whatever, you talk her up, and maybe you ask for the number, and she's like, no thanks, I'm not interested, or something like that. Or do you have a boyfriend? Like, yes I do. Kind of like a whatever it is. There's an immediate confirmation you just got rejected. Deal with it, walk away. And it's like, it's character building, whatever. It's happened in the clubs, in the club, right? But now for a guy, there's phases of it. There's phases and degrees of these rejections, because first you're swiping, right?
Yeah.
We go to this randomizer of hot or not, where you swipe left or right. And I was describing it for a guy, we're building up a queue of potential matches. When we swipe right on that hot or not section, we build up a queue of all these women we hope to match with. But when I talk to our friends, female friends, I'm saying, that's not that. I mean, if they're at least decently attractive in any way, they don't even have to go to the hot or not section, the random hot or not section. They just they're building up. Oh, sorry, they've accumulated a pool of a list of men who they know are already interested in them, because the app tells you, it's like, hey, these are all the people that like you, and it's just a matter of matching, like agreeing or reciprocating. So it, like, in itself, is there humility there? Because you know that all these list of people are you already like, and they're the only ones you're gonna look at. Maybe they might go back to the hot or not section, but likely not, because they have like hundreds or thousands of people in their likes list. I don't have that many.
Most of the females I've talked to, like through the apps and everything, or like my friends who are on the apps, they say like, yeah, you will get like a bunch of guys liking us and everything, but it doesn't translate to anything, like the initial thing is of course like getting that initial rejection, but like for females it's like they get rejected when they're more invested than we are. Like the guys
yes,
reject them once they're more invested.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't want this. Like
after the exchange happens, happens, and
yeah.
I have heard that
That's
too.
When it's like, and then like guys tend to just say like, don't put a label on it. We're just hanging out. Like, just no label, girlfriend, boyfriend. It's just, this is it. Like, I've known girls who've been with a guy and they haven't had a label for like a year, and then they would just say like, and the guy would be with someone else, and then they'd be like, what the hell? And he's just like, well, we weren't really anything,
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, I get it. There's like degrees of like rejection, and like, maybe it's easier if we get rejected at the door rather than when we're already moving in, So, sorry.
Well, I mean, yeah, do you think? I think transparency is big there. If it's kind of, if you communicate and reciprocate that openly with whoever you're interested in, I don't know, for a woman to get that far, and then the man doesn't put a label in a year. Let's just say it doesn't put a label in a year, but the woman wanted it at some point. Something's missing there, where you're holding on to something, and you're hoping for. I mean, that's a recipe for some disappointment. I think, because like it shouldn't be that hard.
Well, there was like like the guys would tell them like, oh, I'm really, when you're my girl, you'll know you're my girl, or they would say something along the lines of like, right now, like I'm just like, once work starts settling down, or there's always some kind of excuse. Hey, like, of course, like, I do pity these females, but like, that's what happens. So,
well, that's how I think that's part of the game. Like these guys, to keep them in their repertoire, right? This culture, this casual relationship culture, this no strings attached, friends with benefits, or hookup culture, man. Like before, it was kind of faux pas or stigma, and people kept it, they weren't really open to publicize it, but now it's on the profile. Like, it says it right there. Like, if you're looking for long-term, short-term, friendship, or casual. And some apps just straight up say hookup.
Well,
and
you could be like a pure fuck boy and just be like, I'm looking for something serious, and then sleep.
And then do it that way too, and be
like, you want to be evil, like, yeah, you could.
I mean, I guess that exists too. Yeah, I don't know.
It does.
100% it does. I mean, we've seen examples with our friends of this, I believe, and it's terrible. But I think this is like the very small percentile of men who can do this, like who can
pull that off.
Yeah, the majority of men probably have trouble, but that small percentage of men can be total players, and they're having a ball in this new thing, because they can juggle however many they feel like.
I think it just also requires just a lack of empathy. Like, you just really don't.
Well, yeah, that's definitely for sure.
It's not giving a shit about how the other person feels. It's cruel. It's cruel. Unless again,
it's a game though. It's a game.
Unless both parties are open and transparent about what they want, they both agree. I don't know if that ever really happens, but someone always catches feelings, right? Apparently. Anyway. Just to go around, if you guys are willing to share, if you're not, I was gonna ask, when was the last time you guys were rejected in any form? If you want to talk about it, describe it, at least something interactive here, or you can go before that. It doesn't have to be the very last time, but something that sticks out to the last time you rejected. I just talked about like that job application late last fall. I remember not getting it and feeling, oh, that kind of stung a little, but it's a blessing. I turned it around to, it was a blessing that I didn't have to consider, changing my life around for a new career path or whatever. But I have lots of dating ones.
Yeah, I guess the last time I remember being rejected was, I went on a date with this med student. And like, honestly, the date went fire, like, laughing, having a good time. And like, even the med student was telling me how like, so like residents train med students. So like this resident who I trained was like, you're going out with Paul, and like hyping me up. And she was saying like, yo, Paul's the greatest guy. And then like the med student was like laughing and joking around about it with me and everything. Yeah. Date went well. And like, it was just like, oh, dinner's over. Do you want to like go out, like go for drinks after, or do you want to just like head home? And she's like, no, let's go grab drinks. So like we went grab drinks and everything. I don't know what happened, because the next day she was like, yeah, honestly it was great and everything, but I don't think I can be in a relationship or whatever. And I was like, okay, sure. And so like the icing on the cake was like, I saw her Hinge profile, and I'm like, okay, because we were introduced to a friend. And I'm like, so not really looking for anything, but you open a Hinge profile kind of thing. And I was like, okay. So, I mean, at first I was like, of course, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, a little angry, a little upset, because, my pride was shot, like, I was just like, damn. And plus, like, when you're qualified for a job, you think that, hey, I got the job in the bag. And then you get disappointed because, my expectations were like a certain way. But, that's just life. And like, you could be the juiciest peach in the orchard, but not everyone wants peaches, And so like, just kind of telling myself that, and it was fine. It worked out in the end. So like.
Can I ask about it? Can I ask details about it?
Sure.
So were you feeling it? Like you felt chemistry?
In hindsight, like a little bit it was, at first it was a little awkward because it was like, just introduced through friends, and I could already tell,
there's expectation there, right?
And the texting was kind of dry. Like I was like, okay, this girl doesn't seem too interested. But like when we met in person, it was like fine. Like it was fine.
Yeah.
Chemistry was good. Like definitely, like she was a lot more, like in the beginning she was a lot more reserved about it. But then like as the date went on, like she was definitely a lot more chill and like got to like loosen up and joke around. So it was good.
Yeah. So it was set up through friends,
Hmm.
and maybe there could have been a slight feeling of obligation on either part to meet up. No, or
A little bit, yeah.
it stemmed from the text. Okay, and then so you do the date, and then the next day she says she's not ready for a relationship. Is that the reason she gave?
Well, yeah, she said like, because I texted her, I said like, hey, it was a lot of fun last night and everything. Like,
When you want to go out
I'd be
again, type
down.
of thing.
Yeah, I'd be down to like, you know, to take you out again sometime. And then it was pretty much like, she said like, yeah, honestly, like we can hang out as bros and stuff, but all right now I'm not really like looking for anything. I was like, okay, that's fine. You know, of course.
Okay,
Like I
so
said,
did you take that at face value, or I mean, would you rather have been told something else? Do you believe that was?
No.
Well, you saw her on Hinge, right? You saw her on Hinge, so she's looking.
Yeah.
Did that confirm to you that she's not looking for anything, or
No, we
is
matched
that
on Hinge too, which was funny. But
okay?
then
Okay.
yeah, and then we just like joked around about that for a little bit, and then she like closed her Hinge or unmatched me or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
No, like honestly, like, I think the initial hurt, I was like probably like upset, like hurt for a day, and then after
Ego,
that,
right? Yeah.
yeah, I was more like, dang, what did I do wrong last night? Was I really like that blinded? Like, was I not as like good, you know, as good as
Charismatic
I
as you
was?
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so that was more of the issue. Like, you know, that's the main thing. Like, I didn't have like expectations of like, oh, this is the one or anything like that. You know, I don't have that kind of pressure on that. But it was more of like, what did I do wrong? God damn.
You ever do that though, where if you get matched, or I don't know, you get into the phase where you text more and you're getting reciprocated attention. Do you ever like, go further down and start forecasting a little bit out of hope, out of like no, is that just me? Oh, that's right.
I mean, like, it's easy to get that way. Like, I have done that before, and then shit doesn't work out. So it's like, why do I do that?
Yeah. Didn't dig that hole. You just wait for the hole to form on its own. Don't dig it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, that's cool. Thanks for sharing.
No problem.
Kyle, you got any? Sup, Ren? Sup, Mike? Sup, Sharon? They're in there.
I just joined. I missed a lot.
Just casual talking about it. Not really. It's all repetitive.
Well, like from a girl, I don't know. It's been like
could be anything. I don't know.
Because I don't like talk to girls. Although, I mean, the last few times were rejections. Like bartender, super cute bartender. It's like you try and you get a number when you're drunk, but like it's not gonna work. So it's like that didn't work. Of course not. She's like a super hot bartender. I tend to do that.
It's true.
Yeah,
you just get a super hot bartender. Why not? It's because you were drunk.
I think when there's a discrepancy there of soberness, it usually is not a good look.
Yeah, I don't believe in drunk Kyle at all. Drunk Kyle can't do anything.
Kyle can do quite a lot, actually. Drunk Kyle does very well sometimes.
Tipsy Kyle is okay. Drunk
okay, yeah.
Anyways, I think the last time I felt bad and rejected was my layoff. I felt I was cut from a team that I did really well on. I liked my team, but I understand why I got cut, because I was like, I basically had one foot out the door anyway. I was kind of depressed already, and my boss knew it, and I already had like that talk with my boss about motivation and where I am mentally, and so when there was time to make cuts, like I should have been cut, but that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt still. So like I remember the day when you get sat down with HR, and like I know it's coming, but like I took it too well almost. Like I was smiling. I was like, yeah, you know what you do? You got to do what you got to do, and hey, you know, I wish y'all all the very best, because the HR girl, like, I was decently close with her, like very friendly with her, and so like it was weird. It was like very weird. I'm like, yeah, but I was very vocal. I was like, this is such a strange feeling. But it had to happen, I guess. I wish them and the company like the very best, and try to end things like as amicably as possible. And I think I did, but still, you go outside to the parking lot and you go to start your car to drive off, and you're like, and then I'm thinking, I felt this already. I felt this when I was laid off from RIM. It was the same shit. Like, so like I relived this like semi-traumatic experience of losing a job that you worked for 2.5 to 3 years. Like, it was like, you know, it feels bad. And even though I'm thinking, well, I got laid off, so I got severance pay, and I didn't like the job, so it's sort of good, and it's, you know, and it's December, so I can like go on trips now, and there's so many like good things.
Yeah.
But that doesn't
Spin
mean
it.
like, yeah, like it doesn't mean that the hurt just disappears. You know, that the feeling of like, they cut me, shit. Like,
Yeah.
now what I've been doing for 3 years is like, you know, I had a pretty solid routine with the gym, and I was getting my teammates into the gym as well, and pushing their physical fitness as well, and I was feeling really good about that. And then all of a sudden it's like, shoo, you're out. And so it was tough. It was tough, but yeah, I mean, glass half
Did it take a
full,
while to
glass
bounce
half
back?
empty kind of thing. What was that?
Did it take a while to like bounce back, or to spin it in your mind of like, it's a blessing in disguise, this is what should have happened and I'm glad it happened? Like,
Well, for me, I just immediately had to think, okay, well, I no longer have a gym, so I have to go join like Fit for Less, right? So I joined Fit for Less, and I had to keep. I tend to throw my woes into the gym, and that seems to be a good outlet for me. So just tunneling in on physical fitness and diet, and like now I built, you know, the sour bread and the cooking, like these ways of you know, benefiting myself long term helps me deal with the negative.
And it sounds like those are good outlets, at least. So.
Yeah, for the most part, right? You know, until I have that day where I crack open a bottle of rum, and then, you know, those are the negative outlets where, you know, 3/4 of a bottle later, I'm like,
not so productive outlet.
yeah, I'm like in bed for 2 weeks after that, you know. So I have had those. So, you know,
Yeah. I mean, you
don't
can't
get
always
it
be
wrong,
expected to. Yeah, you can't always be on top of things. You know, life just gets you sometimes.
yeah, I just wish I didn't like it so much.
Wait, which part?
Drinking. Yeah, I like it.
There's gotta be a balanced version of it. There's gotta be. There's gotta be.
Yeah, hopefully,
Weed
you know, knock
cookies.
on wood, I'll find it.
Just ask, you know, for a surgical procedure to remove part of your liver, so you can't take as much. You just can't drink as much.
Then I'll just
You can
accelerate my death. Anyways, yeah, that was. I think that was the last time I felt rejected. Yeah.
Yo, that's good. You went over a year without a feeling of rejection. That's pretty sick.
Well, it's kind of been a year, like COVID, man. Like COVID doesn't give me a chance to get rejected. Like, I guess I could like hit on the Zares girl and get rejected there.
You know her name yet? Did you get her on a first name basis yet? She has a name tag.
No, that was more joking because a lot of the Zares girls are like young,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
a little young. Maybe
All right,
the
we're just-
LCBO girl.
Hey. Oh, usually those are old. They're too old.
Yeah, I was just gonna say they're like middle aged. They're like middle aged. They've been smoking for 30 years.
What did I make? Can I see your ID?
They're nice ladies though. Real nice.
They are. So we're just going around, just for the sake of story time. Just last time you had the feeling of rejection. Anybody? Ren, you want next?
Well, I'm trying to think of an example. It's kind of hard.
On the spot. I'll give you some time.
No, well, okay. Just give me examples of what people have talked about already, because maybe it'll spark something. Because I usually bury this stuff real deep,
Oh,
and it only
it's that.
pops up at sometimes.
Is it because it's that traumatizing?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
See,
Well,
what
Paul.
rejection is not traumatizing though? It's like just deal with it differently, right?
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah,
with
there's
the-
degrees of, I guess, how the level of importance it is for you. Like I don't know if you were there. I mean, you might not have been here yet when I said, like, it could be trying out for a team, or applying for a loan, or asking for permission for something, and then just getting rejected that way, denied that way.
Mm.
Versus a romantic outlet, or if it was a professional outlet. Paul's recent example was he'd been set up to go on a date with this girl. They exchanged texts, and it seemed like maybe there wasn't a lot of interest, but when they went on the date, it was good banter, chemistry. He thought it was a good date, and then so he followed up after, and he's like, yeah, you want to go out again? And she was like, no, I'm not really looking for anything. Or yeah, she's not looking for anything. And but then he found her on Hinge after, and they matched on Hinge or something like that. So
Oh man, yeah.
it's like, do you take what she said word for word? Could the profile had been set up prior, or like earlier? Oh, there we go. There they are.
Welcome. Ooh.
Yeah.
Sharon
Oh,
only exists.
Sharon.
Yeah.
Sharon's icon's up, but she's in Mike's vid, so that works out. That works out too. How do I do this? Does that
I
work?
like the
No.
Aurora Borealis in the back.
Yeah, we'll do. So, and yeah, Kyle's was job related. Anybody?
It's hard to think of.
I think mine would be similar. I think, was it last year or 2 years ago? It was mech. That's the last time I got laid off. Sort of. They pretty much just gave a choice to like give up my weekends. They switched every casual to have to do part-time, but that wouldn't fit my schedule. But they're just finding a way to reduce the number of people that were working there. So
Yeah.
I wasn't able to stay, which really sucked. Like, similar to Kyle, where it's like, it's okay if I didn't work there, but it still sucked that, I had to leave. I had to leave without my choice. Like, it wasn't my choice to leave. Like, I didn't leave on my own terms. So, same kind of thing.
So was it harder hitting than you anticipated? Because you saw it coming, I guess, right?
I didn't really see it coming. They just said like, oh, we're gonna have like a store-wide meeting, which never happens, and we knew something was up. So there were some like rumblings that they were like, oh, they're gonna get rid of some people. So like I knew I was gonna leave, but I just didn't expect to leave all of a sudden and not on my own terms. Like I didn't hand in my resignation or anything. They're just like, I guess you have to go now. And there was no like warning, right? Because when they let go of you, or like when they lay you off, they don't give you any warning because they don't want you to sit on it at work, right?
I want to add something to my story just because you said that.
Yeah.
My team lead wasn't there when I got laid off for both Rim and Maple.
Like they
Like
weren't in the office.
my direct report, my boss was not there. So I got laid off by the boss's boss and HR.
Superior. Yeah.
And like HR is cool, but like, you know, I don't really know the higher ups or whatever.
Yeah. That's why it's
So,
easier
like,
for them.
that's
to be there.
another
Yeah.
reason why it was like this deja vu trauma, because I was like, I can't even talk to my boss. Like, she's not even here. I can't say goodbye to my team. I have to just leave.
Yeah, you just have to
sucks.
leave, right? Yeah.
But they all know, like, they all want to talk to you, and they're all just like, you could hear murmurs, like, "Fuck, oh shit, Kyle's going. Oh, what the hell?" And like, and I'm just like shaking my head. And then one of my buddies just comes like near me, and he's like, "This fucking sucks, man. I can't believe," you know. It's like,
Yeah.
it's all good, bro. It's all good. So, you know, like we basically met up for lunch like a few days after, like a bunch of people that got laid off met up.
Oh wow.
Because it was a big cut. So yeah. I guess that was good healing too, for like the whole group of us just to sit down at a table and just all kind of discuss what happened, and like, you know, the goods and bads, like the company was heading in a certain direction and not so good, and how they decided to lay everyone off. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of healing.
Yeah, I think like connecting with people through shared trauma is usually a helpful way to get through things.
Yeah, it was good.
But,
Just
I
to
don't know.
read.
Like, huh?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the closest thing for me was when a lot of us got laid off from the startup I was working in Vancouver. But it's like I wasn't in the best situation. I wasn't in the worst situation. So I was thinking about it just now. I'm like, what constitutes a rejection, or the feeling of rejection for me? And it's like I have to be emotionally invested in something to feel rejected, because I think the way I approach things is I'm usually kind of like Kyle, where like foot is half out the door already for most things. Like I don't commit to things unless I'm really, really sure about something. So I never put myself in the position to feel rejected, because usually I'm the one to leave first, like a job or a relationship. Nah, not a relationship. Job. And opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just gonna read some of what DayDay wrote to. Oh wait, sorry, Ren. Go ahead if you have more to say.
No. Well, I could talk about weird relationship things, but also not entirely comfortable with that. So.
If you're not comfortable, don't. I mean, I welcome it though, because that's the juicy stuff. But
It would have to be
I
highly
want to
edited.
revisit. I do want to revisit everybody who's sharing the experience, because like we're touching on the incident, but I'd like to get some insight on like what you did, like how you dealt with it, like the choices you made mentally, I guess, or you know, like in your scenario, you say you bury it deep. You know, I don't know. I don't know if that. You know, did you learn that somewhere? Did someone suggest you to do that, or like, is that advisable? Would you recommend that to other people who have to face?
You'll
certain
learn it
things?
from example, right? Usually, like you can hear logical ways of handling shit, but most of your behaviors, especially when you're younger, are based on what you've seen other people do. And my personal experience, leans towards burying your shit and not dealing with it.
Do you?
But
I mean, so
I
now
don't-
you
I don't-
have
I try not
experience
to.
doing that. Yeah, like it's you wouldn't advise people to do that, would you?
oh fuck no, are you kidding me?
Okay.
I
So-
journal a lot now, so it really helps.
Ooh, I
set
like
these things
that.
up.
I like
I hear
that.
that a lot.
Yeah. It's like having somebody to talk to, because I usually write in I guess a second person point of view. I don't know if it's second or third person point of view. To be like somebody, I talk as if I'm somebody else. To be like, what's going on, Reinhardt? You need to figure out your life. It's
You're
kind of like
consoling
that
yourself?
weird moment. Yeah, essentially in my journals.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that.
I'm just reading what DayDay's writing. So let me just
W, okay.
revisit some of what DayDay's saying. So DayDay's response to Paul's story. How are you not looking for anything but decide to go on the setup thing? I do have comments about that. I just don't know if. Well, Paul's busy
Well,
right now.
No, well, people like. Sorry, I'm just brushing my teeth. But when, like, people want to go and try these things to be convinced that they want something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've gone on dates where I'm like, I'm not really looking, but hopefully this person will convince me that I want them. You know?
Well, what about the scenario of like going on a date to give it a shot, but then you don't feel it. You just don't feel it. Like, how do you let down? That like, I don't know. That's what resonated with me. If when I put myself in the scenario you described, and someone would tell me, "So I'm not looking for anything," and then you see them somewhere else on the app again. To me, it's like, oh, it's not that they're not looking. They're just don't. It's not me. They're just not looking for me. But why didn't they
Yeah.
just say that? Like, I would have appreciated that, like a direct.
think
I just don't think
so-
we're hitting it
some
off,
people
or
can't
I'm
do
not
it, though.
looking for
Is
something
that
else. You know,
Is that gonna change anything though?
I think it does, man. Because look, you saw them on Hinge after, and you had to come up with extra questions or extra. You had to question it more. You know,
I mean,
like
'cause at the end of the
Why do
day,
you have-
she just didn't
Why
want
do you
me.
have to question it more?
Yeah, I just left it at that. She didn't want me.
Yeah.
well, that's fine. If you accepted it that she didn't want you, that's definitive. That's what I'm saying. And she didn't say that. She said she's not looking for anything. Right? But then she is looking for something, but it just turned out it wasn't, you guys weren't the match that she had in mind. You know what I mean? It's just the honesty part of it. Maybe she thought it lets down someone easier when you say something like that.
Or you could just be looking on the menu. You know, when you're on dating apps, just looking on the menu doesn't mean you're looking for something.
Mhm.
Menu.
She isn't owning up to
I
her
don't know.
shit.
I don't think she. It sounds like she doesn't know how to communicate her perspective properly.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm allergic to bullshit. And then
fight back with fire.
DayDay, is
But
it
it's
cool that I
understood-
read what you
But
shared
it's
or not?
understood that, but like it's understood that people do that, right? Like when people say that, you sort of know what that means.
Yeah. There's
No,
so
but
many
look-
different voices.
It's a
Yeah.
But
cop out.
no, what I'm
You're
saying
not
is,
thinking
okay,
about answering.
if you're
Yeah.
aware, if you're self-aware and you hear that from someone and you have a good solid foundation of like self-confidence and self-worth, yeah, you can take a rejection like that, like, oh, they're just trying to let me off easy, but it's me, but I'm cool with that. I deserve better anyway. And you can turn it around, be like, she doesn't deserve me, whatever, we're not good for each other. But for someone who doesn't have self-worth like that, someone who can't take rejection very well, gets said, oh, I just don't think I'm looking for anything right now, and then you see them on the app again looking, it even hits back harder. Like, what's wrong with me? Now you take it as like, what was missing with me, where she's gonna continue looking for something else because I didn't have it. Or if you were really into her but she didn't reciprocate and you thought it was reciprocated, that shit hurts more. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
okay, did he say it? That's what I'm saying. Like, with the level of awareness of everyone here, I think we can get when someone's just trying to let us off easy or let us off nice. But it may not be the case for everyone to take rejection that way. I'm just trying to make it a little.
Yeah, that's true.
I think when there's
Insightful.
ambiguity, you can spin yourself into like a crazy space. You know what I mean? When when
Yeah.
people can't communicate things properly or like articulate them, it makes the other person that's in the dark think of some really fucked up shit. To be like, oh, they fucking hate me. I know that they hate me because of this one small thing that I hate about myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Imagine. You think the date's
Because of
going
this.
really well. Yeah, imagine the date's going really well, and then you go for a second one, and she's like, oh, I'm not really looking for anything, and you're like, it must have been something I did. Oh, did I have something stuck in my teeth? Oh, or did my breath stink? Oh, should I have worn a different shirt? And like, and you like, you know, like.
Yeah, like I was just wondering, like, wait, I thought the night went perfect. You know, I wasn't thinking about like, did I do?
That's a
something
big
wrong?
word. If you think perfect.
Well, not perfect.
Well, it went well. Eh?
But fire. He said fire,
Like,
dude. He said fire.
Yeah, it was fire. Like, so it wasn't like, oh, did I do something wrong? Like, it was more. Yeah, I was like, wait, like, am I interpreting the whole entire night wrong? Like, that was my thing. But, you know, am I gonna do something different next time I go on a date? No. Am I gonna really try and like, you
Yeah,
know?
of course.
Are you sure she wasn't just on the apps to,
Get free food?
yeah, free food?
That too.
No, we were introduced through a friend. Like, if you guys.
Oh.
A friend who introduced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ren's camera froze on the wink. It was funny.
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad. Nah, happy endings, guys. I got
So happy end. But so Paul, yeah, I want to ask, extend the same question to you too. Like, do you have insight on how you chose to, like, how did you deal with it? Like, what can, if someone was in the same scenario as you, how would you advise them to take that? What kind of advice would you give somebody who faces something like that?
Well, like I said earlier, was like, you could be the juiciest peach in the orchard. Not everyone wants peaches, you know. So really, my
Some
advice
people are
is
allergic.
take inventory of what makes you like great. You know what I mean? Like, you like why you're going to be a good partner regardless. Like, you know, it's not that it's like anything on your part. It's just people just have their different preferences, and know that like you have your own preferences too. Like you could easily be on a date with someone and you just don't feel the same way either, you know? So like, you have the power to turn down people too. It's not like you're just going to be turned down all the time. So it really comes down to that. Because if we didn't have our preferences, like, you know, I'm sure all of us would be like settling or doing whatever, you know, if we didn't have preferences. Like we'd all be partnered up, like for real. But but taking inventory about how you know, of what makes you like great, you know? So
I think that's very important. Like if you can't articulate that for yourself, it makes it harder for you to build self-esteem. Like I found that specifically for me. Like there was a while where I was just like, I don't know what I offer, you know. But then like I mentioned this before, FJ, but we did that exercise that you don't remember about listing your accomplishments. And that like flipped my perception all around, and I was like, "Holy shit! Okay, I've done a lot more than I thought I could. I'm awesome.
Nice.
I'm pretty damn cool."
Yeah. I think anytime you go through something like that, you'll always feel that. You'll feel those kinds of emotions. It's just like how you deal with it after, because it's easy to give someone advice after they, you know, but like. They'll still feel that feeling of rejection.
Yeah.
That's
normal.
It's not like trying to avoid it. It's just like try how to get through it or how to get past it. It's like, oh yeah, you have these thoughts in your mind. It's either like maybe it's like you just have to catch yourself and be like, oh shit, okay, like, I feel this way. What can I do? Like, why do I feel this way? And then move on after that. Once you identify that you feel this way because of what's happening, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain feelings.
You're right. Like, honestly,
but like you're trying to give advice to someone going through these feelings, but it's not like you can avoid it completely. You just have to go through it and then you move on. Right.
True. Yeah.
Right, you don't dwell.
Well,
You don't dig. You don't dig the hole.
Yeah. If you're stuck there for longer than a certain period, then there's an issue.
Yeah, there's an issue.
It's trauma.
Yeah, like in
recommend
this
journaling?
example, how FJ wants to know, what would you tell this person that this happened to? I think I would tell them, like, look, there are some girls or guys out there that, you know, they feel it's okay to do something like this, where they could like lead you on and say, you know, I'm not looking for anything, and then the very next day be on the apps again. These people exist, and you should really try not to take that
Yeah,
heart.
exactly. I didn't
That is just how that person deals with that. You know, they didn't like you, so they don't like you. That's cool. Just be you. And that didn't work out. But again, back to the you can't dwell on it. Just some people will choose that route. And then you know that says something about them. So now you know something about them. Oh, so you're the type of girl that would do that. Okay. And then that might even make it easier for you to stop dwelling on it. Like, oh well,
Another
I
good
didn't
thing.
know her as a girl like that. But
I feel like a thing that helped with the not dwelling thing is do things you like. Like usually when I'm going through like shitty periods like that, I dive into something I enjoy. Like I took up new dancing lessons, which I highly recommend. Partner dances. I think that's a good thing to try when
Nice.
things open up again. Oh yeah, I don't know. It just because then I don't know if you guys ever read the book The Game. If
I
Yeah,
haven't
the
pressed
game by
play on
Neil
that
Strauss.
audiobook yet. Yeah.
so there's a funny thing called I think they call it one-itis, where it's like you get so caught up on one thing. The example in the book was like one woman. You get stuck on one woman, and you get so ingrained in that. But then you have to realize the only way to get over that is to like talk to other women and be
Yeah.
like, oh, there's other great people out there, you know, or other great things.
I
Go
was
on.
about to give my petty answer. So my petty answer is pretty much like, yeah, I'm rejected by this one. I'm gonna find someone even prettier and doper than her. Like, it's like, like, that's, like, yo, whatever. I don't need that.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Upgrades.
It gets you out of that funk, man.
Yeah. It's like, oh,
I think-
okay.
When I was listening to what Kyle was saying about like seeing the other girl and realizing, oh, like you're that type of girl, I feel like I'm similar. Like if I was in that situation and then I saw that girl, it's easier for me to get through it if I realize in my head is like, oh, like so it's easier to just be
Just
tough on
this type of
myself.
person.
Yeah, it's easier to just be tough on myself and say straight up to my face like, oh, like she just didn't want you. It's just the way it is. Like, which means she's not the one, so you just move on to the next one. So it's easier for me to just like go through that pain like really, really quick, really, really bad, and then it's easier to move on after that because this only gets better after that. I don't know if that's the right way,
Yeah.
but it's
That's
easier for
good.
me to just
That's
like
good.
to be blunt with myself as opposed to like dwell on like, oh, like what's wrong with me.
yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You
Yeah,
know
where
that
the-
there is nothing. You already know that
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with you, right? Like
Mhm.
whatever was missing on her list necessarily isn't like part of your list. So
And
yeah, there's a big level of self-worth to be able to handle rejection well, like in any level of rejection, not just relationship, but like if you know what you're worth, you know how good of a worker you are applying for a job and the job doesn't take you, be like, well, they're lost because like I could have made that company awesome, you know, or a company chooses to lay you off, but you know how good you were and how valuable an asset you were to that company. You've already defined that for yourself. They're lost. It's just perspective.
Mhm.
It's like,
Oh, but-
shoot.
Yeah.
I was thinking like even just being blunt about like who I am. Like if a company fired me because I wasn't a good worker, I'll be completely honest with myself and was like, I wasn't ready for that job. I need to work on this to move on to the next one.
Self-awareness
Yeah.
is a skill, man.
True too. True too.
Yeah,
You have to-
that's what you would
you
call
have-
it, self-awareness.
You have to be
Like, if
be truthful to yourself too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think self-awareness that's the word. Like if a relationship failed and then you know it's easier for me to just be blunt on myself. I don't know if it's a good thing, but if you realize that you are the issue in the relationship, I would rather be blunt with myself and be like, okay, this is what I did wrong. I'll do better next time. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing. If you're like beating yourself up for it, like I feel, am I being like too hard on myself that way? But
No, but like I think you're being hard on yourself, but you're also acknowledging that you can get better. So I think it's
exactly.
both sides, right?
okay,
Exactly.
as long as I acknowledge, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, using it as
Yeah.
a growth. Yeah.
Mhm.
There are two possible scenarios in that case, it's like, well, if I'm not meeting, you know, someone's version of expectation for whether it be a job or the relationship or what the person's looking for, you decide is like, should I have had an opportunity to address that or not? Like, it's one thing if you go on a date, you think it's going well, but it doesn't, and that second date doesn't happen. You didn't really build much rapport there anyway. But if you worked at a job for years and then you get laid off and you're like, why? And then you have to be honest with you, oh, maybe my performance wasn't there or whatever, but you want to keep the job and you know you could be better and you want to put the effort. It's letting go versus, you know, letting go and thinking, okay, well, there could be something better, it's got to move on. Or you might want to be, I don't know, some people might feel like, well, I could have done better. If I had an opportunity, I could have changed. I could have improved and done more.
See,
It depends on how much you've invested, right? Invested into actually committing to that relationship, the job, or whatever it is.
Okay.
I think sometimes it depends. Like with my experience, it hit me to the point where I was like, what's wrong with me? Was when it was so repetitive, like with my past relationships. Like even if it's not one person, like I move on, say like one failed, okay, the next one, and then I get to the next one and that one failed too, and it kept happening over and over again. And then I think one time, like, I broke down because I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, I'm trying my best to be a good girlfriend and like all these things, and then every relationship I'm in, I keep failing. And I just want to be in like a good, stable relationship. And then that's when I kind of like gave up on my like being like, I'm like, okay, fuck it, I don't want to be in a relationship anymore. Like, I'll just do whatever I want. And yeah,
I think that's good. Like, I think coming to that realization usually is beneficial in the long term. Like, figuring out yourself rather than trying to be something for somebody else.
Yeah, that too. But it's just, I think like I kind of stopped thinking like, okay, I don't have to focus on like being with somebody. I'll just, you know, if someone's gonna come in my life, then let them come and just like go with the flow kind of thing. I just stopped caring. And then I met Mike.
Yeah, you were walking around and you're like, I don't care.
See how you don't care? I like that about you.
I don't care.
DayDay, you said people tend to forget karma's a bitch. I mean, that's a perspective. I like to think karma exists. Sometimes I don't think it does. But it's nice to think that it does, because it feels like you're owed something, you know? That's out of your control, but that's a personal belief.
I think there's always that possibility, right? Of like, if this person continues to treat people in a way that isn't generally seen as a good thing, eventually somebody's gonna bite back, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
I think in that way, there's always that probability there.
Oof.
It's not always a guarantee, but there's always that probability.
Yeah.
Rejection is a bitch.
Like, I have other rejection stories. I don't want y'all to look at me different.
What do you mean, look at you different?
Oh, that changed how we
If they're good stories, they're good stories, man.
Like when I was home wrecking.
Did you tell me?
When
I
you
think
were
you've told us about that.
What did you just say?
I feel
Home
like-
wrecking?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you told us this before.
yeah. I think
I
I
don't-
told a few of you guys before.
I don't know if you've told YouTube.
So, oh man, this was a long time ago.
The
okay?
floor is yours.
Pretty much like, yeah, pretty much. I started hooking up with this girl who had a boyfriend. I knew she had a boyfriend. And I thought that she was going to leave boyfriend.
Said boyfriend, right? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. This is like every rom-com / dramedy.
Yeah.
I don't like the setup, man. I've caught myself in stuff like that. And
Yeah,
yeah,
and so
the setup's rough.
yeah, and so like, um, you know, everything was going great and everything, and then like all of a sudden just like super cold shoulder, and I was like, what the hell? Like, where'd this come from? You know, and like I never brought up the topic of her boyfriend or whatever. I knew she had a boyfriend, and boyfriend hated me for good cause, you know, obviously. But
Suspicion was
um,
confirmed.
yeah, and then like I remember going to the bar and seeing her like after like she ghosted me for like a week, and then yeah, she went with her boyfriend, and I was like, okay, I think we're just working it out and everything. And then like what ended up happening was, yeah, I mean that's what pretty much happened. And then like now they're married, so I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're married. So
Interesting.
like, good on them, but I'm like, dang. I remember.
You
I
guys
used
still
to-
friends?
No, we're not friends at all. No,
Weird.
definitely not. You know, that's just inappropriate. But you know, back then I was like, you know, of course I was angry. I was like, oh man, you used to complain about this guy to me all the time. I mean, I never really entertained it. Like I'd just sleep with her, but like, but yeah, she would like do this, do that, and like give me all this attention, and then she would even like go all this way to kind of like hide and everything, like you know what we're doing, all this stuff. And I was like kind of hoping that we'd be together at that point in time. And but yeah, I mean it doesn't work out that way. And
Yeah, I don't. I feel
Okay,
like it
okay.
usually doesn't.
I have well,
Yeah.
my okay. I mean, you're right. I've seen this in a movie. But then the whole narrative that, well, if she left someone for you, who's to say she wouldn't do it again? That
well, they're married now. So.
Well,
That doesn't
No,
necessarily mean
no.
she's
Yeah, I
faithful,
know. That doesn't
right?
necessarily mean
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
That's true.
or
I think she's
not.
the one
Like
with,
that's the
like,
thing, right?
Something she has to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah. But would you, let's say it worked out in what you had, what you hoped for. She did leave him for you. Would you? Do you think you'd forget? You know that
No,
that was the premise of how things start. You won, yeah.
I don't know.
I get it. No, I get it.
I don't
Like
know. I have no idea actually. That because I've never been in that situation.
it's a security thing. Yeah, it's an insecurity thing at that point. Who knows? If things go
There's
fishy.
A lot of that rejection I was feeling was like, this guy's better than me. Like really? Like you left him for me in the first place. So like, why is this guy better than me? And so like
True.
that was the big rejection. I mean, like
That's hard.
she was what? I think she was 24. I was 27, and the dude was like 30, and I was like, or he was like 33, and I was like, yeah, you're gonna what? Like he's better than me? I was like,
Oh,
really?
dang.
Like, so, and then yeah, that was the main thing. But that was like years ago. So that was like
I feel like I would follow your earlier sentiment of being like trying to remind yourself like, no, fuck, I am awesome and I will find somebody one up. Because she's already a low bar, man.
No, for sure. Like, I mean, initially it stung because, like I said, I was kind of hoping that. I don't know why I was hoping. I don't know. I was just blinded, like,
Yeah.
But definitely, like, I was like, yeah, I don't really need to be with someone like that. So,
Yep.
but it was
I feel
also
you on
like,
that one, man.
terrible karma for me. Maybe that's why I experienced a bunch of other rejections. Terrible. That's what we're talking about karma. That's why I was like, yo, that's why.
It's like, oh, now it makes sense.
That's fine. Okay, I paid for it. I'm good now.
Yeah.
Scores even. Okay, I'll share a quick one, and then I'll pose a question for everybody again after. But I remember, no, this I'll generalize it in a way because it's happened in more than one occasion. Oh, sorry, but I did want to address when Sharon was saying how she had a lot of relationships, or her selection of relationships in the past that kept failing. And she was like, well, what am I doing wrong in all of these? Why is there this common, like the only common denominator in all these failed relationships is me, right? Like right? And I had to adopt that too. And you know, in terms of like taking ownership, like I knew it was me. Like I knew the temper thing, like the thing that I eventually wanted to go to therapy thing, I had to own. And it was part of like a bigger step like later on, and having, you know, built in that self-confidence and knowing my self-worth now too. It's like I think it's what's led me to feel a bit more selective and picky, and get over like rejection easier now, because like if it's easier now for me to be like, well, yeah, if they're not into me, it's their loss. And it's not an ego or a arrogance thing. I just do think it's like I've been able to build up my self-worth in that respect. An example
I feel like a
is
certain level of ego is good though.
yeah, self-confidence, right?
Yeah.
Borderlining arrogance, you mean, or like
Sorry.
like so you mean I mean there's a line between self-confidence and arrogance. Where's ego there for you? Like what do you mean? Some ego.
I think arrogance is when you kind of like shove it down somebody's throat. Like confidence,
Yeah.
self-confidence is like, I'm good as is, as I am, you know.
Yeah.
You don't have to shove it
Self-validation.
down anybody's throat. Yeah, no validation.
It's just for you. It's just for you.
Sorry, go on. You're about to say something as well.
Oh, just my example was on some occasions now. So I'd match, and conversation would start. It seems like there's reciprocated conversation, you know, and I find myself now trying to participate in a little bit of the game of not starting every conversation every day, not being the one to message first all the time, waiting for that thing. I hate it. I'd rather it be organic and kind of natural, but I feel like I should be aware of not always initiating everything. So yeah, you feel like it's reciprocated, and then all of a sudden, left unread, as this t-shirt says.
Oh shit! Okay.
Where it's just, you know, you send the next message, and then like nothing, and then it's so that's when my mind doesn't race or anything, but it's like it starts to question, okay, the hopeful side could be, maybe they're just busy today, or maybe not so hopeful, but a possibility something bad might have happened where they're just not able to respond. Or then you start to go the spectrum of, oh, maybe she's talking to somebody else now, or maybe she's lost interest, or, you know, and then you go through all these scenarios. It's the ghosting thing. It's basically ghosting leaves all these scenarios up. It's nice when you get a definitive termination to something, but being left unread sucks. Or being left read, or even if they do read it and just no response, at least that's a little easier. And then I've had instances too where they just unmatch and delete, and then next thing you know, you go on the chat, their photo's gone. And then the timer doesn't say if they're online anymore, and you're like, oh, this person deleted me. You know. But yeah, it's been easy, like I said, with the whole self-worth thing and self-validation thing of like it doesn't really hurt so much for very long anyway. It's probably just, all right, back on the app, swipe some more.
True. I feel like, though, I don't know if I'm biased here, but I feel like it's also a matter of filtering on the front end, right? Of like, you have to choose your battles rather than just taking every battle. I think if you're more likely to get low quality if you're doing a spray and pray effect.
Oh yeah. I agree with the sentiment. But how about this, Ren? If you are super picky, I'm not
Yes.
trying to be contrary to what your point is. I agree with your point. But take in the scenario of like if you're very picky, and so your match numbers are super low.
Yep.
Right, so
that has happened to me, yes.
right? So let's say, but you get the match. I mean, do you suggest still some sort of level of filtration for this match at this point? But if it's the only one entertaining you at the moment, it's like, well, why not? It's like
I
it's
mean-
nothing else. Nothing else is happening.
I think you got to think of it from a broader perspective. At least when I was in, I guess, in this zone of thinking before, it was like I would greatly filter on the apps. And I went on a few dates and they were shitty. And I was like, oh my God, this is just horrible experience. Everybody I go on here are just boring as hell, or maybe I'm boring. I don't know, but it seems like it's not a good match. So
Yeah.
then rather than focusing just on the apps, I also thought of like what social events can I go to where I can meet like-minded people that I actually find interesting.
I just wanted.
That's why I joined like the dance things. Sorry?
Sorry, I was joking around. I said they just wanted to
Come on,
see your
thanks.
body, Ren.
See, okay, wait. There's a thing about this. Dancers. I'm sorry. It feels like that. Like so a lot of the women I'd meet while dancing felt like that as well. Felt like it was all just looks.
Physical.
Does that make sense?
Mm.
Yeah, it's
It
all
does.
physical, but then they were still boring.
All you do
Well, I mean, all the common denominator in all these scenarios, Ren, is
Ren's like, God damn it, she wants a one night stand again.
It was my world.
I'm joking, I'm joking.
oh, I'm so torn. No.
so tired of this.
No, that's all good, man. I understand.
I get you. I know. I've had experiences though where I feel like if you put me on any date, I kind of trust in my conversational skills it'll still be entertaining, you know, at least, or maybe I could carry it for the both of us sometimes. I've done that.
That's it shouldn't be like that though. Like that's what most of the dates I went on felt like. It was like I was carrying the conversation. I was still being funny. They laugh. They try and put something up, but like they don't make an
They
effort.
suck.
You know what I mean? Like you can tell. Yeah. Nah.
Yeah, they don't meet you.
I think. Yeah, I think it's important for them to meet you halfway, and like, the only way to do that is to like broaden the avenues or your channels that you search in. Like you fish where the fish are, right? Like you don't fish on fucking Niagara Falls. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's real. Yeah.
No,
Gotta think about that one.
that's how I feel about the app. Fuck the app.
Like the apps.
And I'm kind of with you.
Welcome,
with the
Dan.
app, obviously, because
Sorry,
I
guys.
had an app.
I
Hello.
like the song.
Hey, friends.
Welcome
Kyle,
to Rejection.
what were you saying, Kyle?
I was just saying, I'm with you. I'm with you on the apps. Like
Oh.
I guess I can't knock them because I never tried them. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's
It's-
because I
it's
can't. I
just the
can't.
norm
because... I mean, you've tried.
Hey,
But,
Oh, look at that bogey guy right there.
Look at that
Hey.
Mr.
guy.
Poggy.
we're changing to this kind of a show, huh?
Oh, I,
Late
All
night.
right, let's see the viewers shoot out. Let's see the viewers engagement. TOS, no. Oh. Okay, Dan, hopefully you have an example of the, last time you've encountered rejection. If you don't have one ready yet, DayDay did request that I share some of his stories. So I'll do that quick summary of what he wrote here. In the meantime,
We'll go with DayDay for now.
okay, so he said he was rejected by UT and Mac, but UW accepted him. So yeah, the school thing. It was sad at the time because UW was far, but he found all of us, so it was awesome. And then he said, if I ever got a chance at a competition between schools, I'll do my best to beat UT and Mac specifically.
So he holds a grudge.
Oh man, too bad you weren't in 05. We didn't do it in 06. No. But yeah. UT was easy to beat every time. Hey. Trent tends to be elite the company. Oh yeah, and he said too when he's left companies in the past, those companies tend to do not so well after. So
It's true though. Every new company he
He's-
joins, it just
he's jumping
he's
a
always
sinking
at the
ship.
peak.
Yeah.
He's in their peak every time.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, and how did you deal with the? I guess yeah, it was. How did you deal with the rejection, man? Was it the sentiment of like karma's a bitch? Like it's like screw you, Rim. Screw you, MapleSoft. I didn't say that. That wasn't me. That's
Everyone's
Oren
like,
says
"What's
more
Rim?"
Paul. What's Rim?
What's Rim?
Where's Paul? Why is Paul rejecting us?
Never.
So yeah, Dan, do you have an example now?
Let's see, rejections. I mean, trying to find work during COVID times, you know, sent out tons of job stuff, mostly rejections. I guess it's just understanding the situation. So obviously it sucked. You feel like crap, but I mean, what can you do, right? Like,
was it you just kind of be like, well, I guess I wasn't qualified, you know, simple, just didn't have a qualification.
Sure, yeah. And in some cases, I knew, like I was applying for a ton of stuff, things I knew I didn't have experience for, but it's like, well, what experience can I get because I need the job? And you know, it's a rock and a hard place, right?
Chicken or the egg scenario.
Yeah. What else? Yeah, I mean, like those things sucked. I tried like very minimally using the apps, like extremely minimally. You know, I did my swiping for a bit.
Oh, you
I
swiped
think
too. Yeah.
I think it was when I was in Winnipeg, and then a little bit when I came back. But I mean, I hated it. I'm like, that's equal rejection.
Guys,
right?
I
Like,
freaking love it.
You're not getting matches, or you're barely getting any matches, and I'm like, why am I wasting my time?
I think it's a
doing this
Canada
anyway.
problem. I swear.
You know, I'm old school. I need to meet people in person and have real face-to-face conversations. So I didn't last very long on the apps, and I know, like, in the dating world, if I were to go back into it, I wouldn't survive. I need I need the face-to-face. So that's why, like, for a period after, like, I was never home. I looked at the apps like just during that time, and then I deleted them all after, because I'm like, it's not for me. Like I can't, that's just me though, right? Like I can't adapt to it. So I just tried to meet as many people as I could and just get interested in talking to people who have the same common interests, and something came about eventually. Yeah, so that's how I deal with rejection. It's just you
stay
feel
strong.
Crappy. Let yourself feel like crap. It's it's a natural emotion, but then you just move on. Like you can't spend time. Like I try not to spend time dwelling on it as tough as it is, especially during, like, my biggest example is probably COVID. Like I was actively looking. I was making applications, like multiple applications a day for like most of the quarantine time. And I had some like interviews, and I had a ton of emails, a ton of like after interview messages saying like, sorry, we choose somebody else. And it's like, okay, on to the next. Like, what else can I do? I can't do anything except continue to apply. Because if I don't, then I'm just going to be in the same place anyway. Right? That was me. I sorry, I ranted. Where's Paul?
Oh, good.
I need to see more Paul.
I don't know. Like, I don't mind the apps. Like, honestly,
Well, because they're working for you.
I don't know. I guess, but also like my expectations.
Was
of
one
the
of
apps
those
is I
small
don't take it too
percentage I
seriously.
was talking about.
Like, I don't take the apps like this is my one and only shot to like find happiness or whatever. No,
Oh yeah, no.
I just swipe just to see what's out there, and usually like, oh, that person looks cool, you know, and like I already have the expectation that even if I match with them, it's not gonna really lead to anywhere. Like I don't like if it leads to some like natural conversation, I was like, oh, that's a pleasant surprise. Oh, that's sweet. Otherwise, like I
Yeah.
don't really like, you know,
I've
I
learned
don't
that
mind it that way.
not to
Yeah.
put hope in a match.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't really mean much.
I think for me too, I had the wrong mindset using the apps, like going into them. Like I already felt it wasn't gonna lead anywhere, so going in with that attitude, it's probably I got exactly what I expected type thing.
Mm.
So that's just and I didn't really give it enough time your way. I couldn't tolerate it enough to actually give it a chance.
I think there's just too much lost in translation, right? Like years of evolution requires us to like see somebody physically in front of us.
Exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah, because I've been catfished, bro. Like it's crazy.
You've been catfished? Oh,
You
my
have been? Like you met up with someone who was different.
Okay, it was like the heart of COVID. Okay, like all right, so and
What?
nothing's open, so of course they're gonna come over, and then yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh
Yeah,
my
catfish.
god.
Oh,
man.
no.
Were they
You're like,
actually the same person?
You
They were just, like,
wait, you
heavily
opened the
photoshopped?
door. Yeah. Like, yeah, explain.
No, I met her at her car. I met her at her car.
You went down to meet her at her car.
Yeah.
To let her in your parking, I guess, or something.
No, to like, you know, show her like, you know, let her in my apartment and stuff.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Wow.
And then she rolled down the window and you're like, where's
No,
whoever?
she got out of the car, and no, she's pretty. She was just
Okay.
a lot more heavy than.
Okay, so it was her, but at a thinner time.
Hmm?
Was it her, but at a thinner time? Was it her photos or
Yo, it's
what? Or
them
not?
angles. It's them angles. It's them
Yeah.
filters. It's them
Dude,
contours.
yeah, I
Let me
know.
tell you, bro,
Cropping
like,
is so key.
now I know.
Oh,
that
man,
if
the
I'm ever
cropping.
gonna like match with the girl, like I need to have that clean FaceTime. Like no angles, no, don't lift the camera up. No, it has to be straight.
Yeah, man.
I know it's like it has to do like.
You need
No,
their
I
social
gotta show
media.
her
You need to
iPod.
see a recent post,
Full
and you need to see
body
full
picture.
body.
I don't lie about my height. You know, I know guys lie about their height on their Hinge and all that stuff. I don't lie about my
Really?
height. Yeah.
No,
So,
why
like,
do that?
So
That's
there's like
stupid.
guys who
Yeah.
catfish too. You know, like I know girls who say they've been catfished by guys.
Oh.
So, you know, I appreciate like if you're just honest, and so I felt like it was kind of dishonest. And
Yeah.
so
That's so funny.
But I mean, yeah. I guess you come across
But I
enough
did
of those
reject
profiles,
her,
you
I
could
guess,
tell,
so.
man. You can tell. Oh, you
To keep
you
the
did
theme.
reject her. Well, okay, dude. That was my next example. I wanted to go around again, around the table to be an examples where you rejected someone or something or whatever, where you were the one doing the rejecting. If you guys can come up with stories similar to Paul's. Oh, but okay. So what happened? What happened? So you sent her home? You'd be like,
No, I didn't send her home.
You enjoyed that.
No, I didn't sleep with her though. But like,
so she came up.
Okay. I tried. Okay, like it was more like, God damn. All right. You know, started making out.
Oh, all right.
Placed my hands like on the booty. All right.
Yes,
Like
yes.
I couldn't tell where the thighs began and the booty ended. Okay. And so that's when I stopped. That's when I was like, okay, I'm afraid this is like I can't. You know, she's very pretty. No lie, she's very
But
pretty.
you communicated to her though, right?
Rolls.
You're like, this
Hold
didn't
on,
work
though.
for me.
Yeah,
Hold on.
I also, yeah, and then
Were you
like,
talking a while? Were you talking a while?
Yeah, we were talking a while.
Never FaceTime, I guess.
No, we
That's
did
right.
FaceTime, but yo, the mangles. That's what I'm telling you. The mangles.
Wow.
She's actually
FaceTimed
got
all the
thin
She
time.
face.
knew.
She's
Like a
actually got
filter.
She
thin
knew.
face.
She knew.
Then
They know. You have to. They know. That's the thing, though. I mean, I've seen it on Instagram. You see it on these profiles too. But they know what they look like too, and they know the ways to make them look they're optimal.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I guess I've learned to recognize that too. I mean, I have experience having to do that as a photographer too. I have to do that for certain people too, so I can see when they're doing it. But yeah, it's if certain things are missing, certain angles are missing, it's you kind of have to guess what to expect there.
And so.
So yeah, okay, so you tried, you made out, and then you're like,
Well, good night. And then I texted her, like, hey, you know, honestly, it was nice getting to know you. I'm afraid I'm not really quite feeling it romantically, you know.
that's
We could still be
that's
friends, though.
honorable.
We'll be
Honorable.
friends and
that's really
everything.
nice.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much it. So, yeah.
yeah, when
Yeah,
it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You know, just can't force
those
it.
angles.
At least you were honest. You were like straightforward.
Mhm.
Well, I didn't tell her this because she was big.
Well,
Well, yeah.
Do you think she?
You don't have
do you
to
think she
say
knew?
that. You just-
Do you think she knew?
I
Did
have
she
no
question?
idea.
Did she question?
I have no idea.
Like 30 minutes after she left, and it's like the first physical meeting together. We can put the pieces together.
So her
Um,
face was the same. Her face was the
This is why
same.
we talked about Karma earlier. I'm like, I know Karma's gonna slap me in the face.
Yeah, that's what DayDay wrote. He's like, again, Mr. Homewrecker, karma.
Karma. Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah.
Anybody?
Wow.
Here's another one too. If it makes it easier too to come up with an example, but I remembered one where, because I have a rejection one that I'll save for later, but where the feeling of disinterest was mutual, and those are really
Oh,
easy
yeah.
to kind of where it's just
Those
like
are
you
easy.
get there and you both know that there's nothing going, and you're just like, you want out, they want out, and it's like relief. It's almost relief. So yeah, I've had those too.
Was that like that one where you met up
No,
with
that was-
girl and
That was rejection.
and you're like, yo, Dan, can you just come?
Can you come, please?
You just come to dinner, so because I think we both know, and it's just I'm like, yeah, man, that's cool.
Yeah, that was the example I was gonna come up with the rejection one, because you know you have a profile, photos are cute, you have a good long conversation on the phone, so you think you're hitting it off, then you meet up in person. It's just not what you had expected. But again, I said I can still be considerate
Respectful.
and friendly and carry. Not I didn't have to carry the convo because she was into it. She's definitely interested. She had a lot to say, and I will entertain that. I'm not gonna be cold and like disconnected. You know, I'll reciprocate the energy, but the interest was not. So it was just. I don't ghost, but I think eventually I had to show that I wasn't initiating new queries anymore. Like but I would not ignore any queries from her. Any messages I'd respond to, maybe a little shorter. Always still being polite, but eventually you put two and two. Unless of course she asks straight up, be like, so like, are you interested? I'll be like, no, I think this is. I would just say that at that point, but until it's asked, I don't think I have to say it out, because you could be put in a position where, you know, someone's put the same scenario, right? Imagine the same scenario. She's interested, showing interest, and I'm not, and then maybe I don't want to entertain it anymore, so I flat out say, oh, I don't know, but I guess I'm just not really feeling this, and I don't think really that we could just be friends. And as a response, because you're the one who introduced that level of a conversation, she could respond, be like, oh, yeah, totally. I just wanted to be friends too. Did I give off the wrong idea? You know what I mean? Like, they play it off in that way where I don't want to go through that. I don't want to go through the acting stuff of trying to play it off or have an opportunity to play it off. Unless it's addressed directly, why do I have to be the one to say it, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, because then you feel more bad because you know that they're just trying to play cool and it's like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you didn't want to be the one to call them out.
Yeah,
and then they're just trying to play it off, and you're like, okay, well, fine, I won't play it off then. Anybody? You reject people? Paul?
I don't have many opportunities to
reject people.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in a relationship for most of my life, and
Right.
Most of them are straight up.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've definitely had cases where you can tell if someone, is being friendlier, but, I don't know. I think I play aloof. I don't know. I try not to lead things on, and then I'm pretty sure they eventually get the picture, but I don't know. I don't feel I'm that sought after to have rejection stories that I gave. So just on the receiving end, yeah. Woo.
It's not that. It's not that you weren't one sought after. You're right. It's the numbers. You just didn't have to experience that. So that's fine. It's fine. Pick up artist terms and men's dating advice. What is this, Ren?
This is the term I was telling you about. That's in the book called The Game. It's called one-itis.
One-itis.
Yeah.
You put this one girl on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Oh man, I do that all the time. I have to not do that. I am constantly telling myself before it happens, I'm like, all right, just don't do that next time. Just don't, make sure you don't do that next time. And it fucking happens every time. I can't not. So yeah, I gotta. Yeah, self-awareness doesn't really help when you just get glazed eyes and
yeah.
Yeah.
One-itis.
Oh, man.
I thought you were gonna.
One-itis.
I thought it said the Russell Peters one gina.
It's probably similar concept. Yeah.
I think about, guys, like
What?
my Instagram. I think about my Instagram once I get in a new relationship and then it becomes public. I think back to my posts because they're still there. And I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
I'm seriously embarrassed for the kind of shit that you guys... First, you guys are supportive. I get some likes on the earlier ones. And eventually, everyone's like, this guy, I've stopped this shit. Like, what's wrong with you? And then I noticed, the likes aren't coming in anymore. Anyway, I hope I've learned my lesson. I hope. Anybody? No? Yeah.
Try not to share those kind of things online.
Rejection stories.
No, I mean like.
Oh, it means like romance, overly sappy romance posts.
Yeah.
I see it too,
Yeah,
actually,
I
from
don't
some people,
share
and it's
either.
like, oh god, that's how I come off.
Usually, if I share it, it's because I've been kind of forced to share it.
Well, how come I'm not on your Instagram? All these other girls are on your Instagram. I know, man.
Yeah,
Just help
that's
me.
how it,
I should help me.
where they post me, and it's kind of like, I guess I should share.
Just copy their story, no?
Copy.
Yeah, stories can disappear,
Post
right?
story to story.
Just replay their story.
The cop out. Repost story. It only lasts for
Instagram
24 hours,
reposted.
but I still did something.
I tagged you in this heart meme.
What's the funny story, Kyle? I think it's about.
Yeah, I'm with Dan. Like I don't reject a whole lot of. I don't have a lot of chances to reject people. I mean,
Oh, but you
I
have.
have. I have.
I
don't wanna talk
remember.
about the funny one is I was with my friends who went to Laurier. They had like homecoming, and we went. I joined them for like their like softball tournament and everything because it was just fun. Like I was just chilling, playing softball and drinking beer, and then at the end, they basically took over the turret, which is the club there, and just how my friends like ran high school, they like ran Laurier for when they were there. So I run into my buddy who was my like dance partner in high school, and he was like considered, I guess, the best dancer in Laurier. And so I met up with him and I'm just like, yo, what up, dude? And we're up on the dance floor and then we have a friendly battle. And like circle forms around us or whatever. And then we have like a little Michael Jackson off. And it was fun. I'm drunk. So like I'm having a great time. You know, like happy drunk Kyle is very happy. And this girl comes and knows my friend. And she basically like jumps on me. And I guess she's giving me all the signs. Like very obvious signs. And then my friend pulls me aside and it's like, yo, you should go home with her. Like, you know, like, and so again, I'm drunk. So I gotta go pee real bad. And then I just run. And it was half true. So I just run to the washroom. And then I pee. And then I leave. Just leave. I didn't go back in to the club. And then, I just kind of chilled outside, and then I waited for my friends to come out, and then we went to McDonald's. But, so I guess
You ghosted her in person.
I rejected her.
You left her unread in person. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was weird. You know, in retrospect, I think back to that fun time, and I was like, maybe I should have. You know, I'm not that type of person, but like, you know, I think back and like, maybe I should have. Maybe I should have had fun with this girl. I don't know. I've never done that. So, but no, I don't regret it. But it just seemed to be a funny memory in my head.
It is pretty funny though. Just see Kyle running. You're like, the fuck? Where's he going?
Yeah,
I gotta go pee. I gotta go pee.
Ran, like sprinted.
So my question is mainly for Sharon, because do you think that females deal with rejection harder or easier than guys?
That's a good
Maybe a
question.
little bit harder. It depends. It depends how serious or how casual the situation was, I think.
Yeah, because
really-
like my friend on dating apps, like, you know, I was talking to her and she was like kind of upset that this like one guy is not really messaging her back, and she was like
Yeah.
really upset about it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, look at your phone, you have 50 rejected guys right there. You're just rejecting 50 guys, and you're getting rejected by one guy, and you're like, you know, all bothered by it. Like,
Yeah, because she was probably into him out of all the guys he was talking to, right? So she was probably focusing on that
Versus-
guy, and then he's not replying. Then that's the thing. I remember like when I was younger, and like my friends were on these apps and stuff, and she told me, she's like, oh my god, this guy I talk to all the time, but he would respond in like 20 hours. Like every time I message him, he would respond and say like, I'm at work, and then he wouldn't respond for like the entire day, and then I'll be like, well, just give it some time or whatever. But then as days went on, he was doing the same thing, or it'll be like 2-3 days, and then he would reply. And I was like, I think you should just take it as a sign.
Yeah, it's a
that,
big hint.
you know? But the thing is, he was leading her on at the same time. Like every time he responded, it was like he was.
Oh my god, let's meet up. Oh.
Because they're in different countries too, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
I was
Okay.
like, why do you have to waste your time on someone like that, like who's not gonna respond to you as quick, or it doesn't have to be like right after you message, but like 2-3 days is like, I don't know. I would be like, there's something going on with him, like he's, and then I think later on, like we found out he had a girlfriend or something.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Sounded like a juggle. Sounded like they were multi.
Yeah. Yeah. Weird.
Go on.
I think with me, when I was like younger, like before university, like high school times, I didn't know how to like reject people, so I used to ghost them all the time. And I think I learned it because
You
this
horrible
one guy,
person.
this one guy ghosted me first. So I was like, oh, why isn't he picking up my phone calls? Like, I didn't understand, and I even like sent him an email saying like what's going on. But then when I actually like understood in my head, like days after, I was like, oh, okay, so he doesn't want to talk to me anymore. So then I was like, okay,
this is
I
what
guess
you do. You just
Yeah.
reject everybody. Okay.
Learn.
it's like, oh. So then like I would like casually like meet guys, and then I'm like, okay, I don't like him anymore, and then I'll just ghost him. I was so bad. And then when I got into like serious relationship, and then they were like, or like they cheated on me or they ghosted me or whatever, that's when I was like, oh, I shouldn't do that to people. So then I actually like contacted like the guys that I ghosted or I hurt. I was like, oh, like even like years later, I'm like, I'm so sorry I did that to you. I didn't
Wow.
mean to.
Oh, that's worse.
Is that bad? I
Yes.
I
Do
respect
not treat dicks.
I respect
Really?
Is it
I don't-
worse? Is it worse?
like
I
years
think it's
later,
worse.
though.
I think it's
Why?
worse. Yeah, I think
Why?
it's worse
Why?
because they're over you.
I don't.
They're like it.
Of
like-
course they're over me. They have to be. But
I know,
have to-
but for you to feel good about what you did because you know you did it wrong,
it's
you
not that I
no, hold on. Because I felt this way. Sorry, I know this is. I'm kind of stealing this. I'll let you finish. I should stop. Go ahead.
I didn't do it for. I didn't do it so that I feel better. I really sincerely
You did it for them?
wanted- Yeah, no, I really. Just
Why would it be?
really
What would that
wanted
serve
to-
them though?
At
that
well,
point?
that's what I said. I said you don't have to take my apology, but I really wanted to say, like, looking back, what I did was totally wrong of me.
Yes, DayDay.
So-
Yes,
What are
DayDay.
you guys saying?
I'm not. I didn't. Okay, listen. I didn't do it so
That's-
that I
no,
make
that's
myself-
exactly. I thought this too. I felt okay. So when I've been unfaithful in a perhaps past relationship, and guilt, shame, all that shit. Later on, you realize, man, I was a horrible human being. That person didn't deserve that. Am I supposed to? When I realize how much of a horrible human being I am at this point, this person deserves better. Am I gonna go back now and be like, so? Remember like 10 years ago, I cheated on you. Like, what does that serve? Who is it serving? Them or me? Like, you know what I mean?
I didn't cheat on anybody. It was
No,
just
but
not
the ghost.
sincere
It's
of-
not cheating, but it's even the ghosting. It was like a rude behavior that hurt somebody, and then later on in life, when you guys are no longer even part of each other's existence, you reach out to apologize. Who is that serving? You know what I mean? Like, who is it serving?
Well, I
The
didn't
notion.
feel like
the
that, so
notion-
it's not fair. Okay, I understand. I do understand, but you
You're
know
also
what?
gonna be selfish, yo. Just send your apologies. I don't care.
No, so like 90% of the time when I did say what I did, like I'm so sorry for my behavior. I didn't mean to do all that stuff. And if you don't want to take it, that's cool. Like I really just it's like it's coming from the bottom because I know how it feels like. I didn't know back then. I didn't know. I was young and stupid. But then when I said all these things, they actually responded and they said like, "Oh, when during that time I went through this and I didn't understand why you did that to me, but thank you for apologizing." Like they all like most of them said that to me.
I
So-
would have.
Right?
I would have too.
I would've.
I think in that
This is-
respect, it would be something that I would respect someone more. It's like if someone makes a mistake and they're admitting it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
like,
how I see it.
I'm not like saying like, "Oh, let's get back together." I'm not saying stuff like that. I'm just saying I did you wrong and it was stupid of me and I didn't.
But are you
know.
part of their after that combo, after that exchange?
No, nothing.
Right? No, nothing else. Right?
Mm.
They just had to go back and remember the shit that they felt then. Sure, they thanked you now for explaining
But you know
that
what,
you ghosted
Will?
them because you weren't interested in them anymore. But
the-
it brought
the
them
thing
back.
is- yes, but when the guys that hurt me and they apologized, I totally like I was like, "Oh, thank you for saying that." Because now like I don't have grudge. Like now I like
Some
you're
closure.
saying sorry. Yeah.
So they don't have to
Not
feel
a
bad about
closure.
you anymore. So you're on good terms again.
Like yeah, like we don't have to be friends, but I respect that you came to me and you apologized for cheating on me or like you ghosted me or whatever.
Serious.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I say, DayDay too. I mean, this is, yeah. What DayDay's
if I
saying
were
is
to
what
do that, if I were to
the
do that,
sentiment.
If I were to do that, it would be for myself. It would be a selfish reason to do that. But at the same time,
Selfish then.
Even
I'm
okay,
not
but look,
selfish.
even if they thank you, right? Because obviously they're still good people. Like they're good people to thank you. If they didn't thank you, they're still bitter. That's
yeah,
probably
that-
even
that's
worse.
the
But
issue.
either way, it's to save face. Let's say you did something wrong, and then at least you corrected it. But the correction is on your favor. It really serves the other person who you've already hurt. I don't think it serves them at all, and therefore that's what I'm not saying you did it for yourself, but the action, the whole act of doing that, of redigging up something like that, only serves you, and that's why I think it should just be avoided. Because if you're doing something on behalf of someone else, but in the end it only serves you, then you shouldn't. I don't think you should do it. That's
Okay,
just
I don't-
anyway. That's my perspective.
There's,
We don't have to agree.
I said sorry to all of them already, anyways.
Yeah, it's done. It's done. Yeah.
If it was a scenario where I didn't know for sure that the other person cheated on me and they confirmed it, that would make me feel better. Like, oh yeah, you are a bitch. Thank
Oh.
you for that. I can have real closure
You are
now.
cheating.
I,
Oh well, yeah, that's the
I would
thing
have
too.
real closure rather than like always have in the back of my head. It's like, oh, she did. Like, oh, so it wasn't me. It was her fault. Like she.
Yeah, like yeah, right? Like for me, if someone did me wrong and then years later they're telling me they're sorry, I would be like, oh, like they finally realized what they did was shitty ass thing to do. Finally, like at least.
But you wouldn't care, right?
I care. I want someone to know they did something wrong to me. Right?
Okay.
It's like even if it wasn't like if it was just like me and you as a friend, and then I did something shitty to you and I didn't apologize, and then years later I'm like, oh my god, FJ, I did this wrong to you. Like I just remembered or it just hit me that I did this to you. I'm sorry. Like wouldn't you be like, oh, like she finally realized like.
Well,
she hurt
are
me?
we still trying to be friends or not?
I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know. Like either way, I think.
If we were still friends, then yeah, I would highly appreciate something like that. If we were, it's like, man, Sharon's pretty cool, but man, 10 years ago, she did something pretty shitty, and she still hasn't even owned up to it. So I'm always going to have this little chip on my shoulder about her. But we're still friends, trying to be friends or whatever like that. But this is someone who's not in your life anymore. Like, so they've moved on, even the person I'm talking about too, like, they have their own lives and relationship or whatever they were thinking about now. And it's like, who am I to come in and bring back some baggage like that? I don't know. I wanted to be like, because you when you learn the wrongdoing you did and you want to own up to it and pay amends. Yeah, I wanted to admit to it, but I had to think about it. Okay, well, what does this do? Will it do anything for the person that I want to make it right with? No. Like, if I sure, Mike, what you said, like if it's gonna help with closure, right? Let's say this person's still hung up, they're still alone, and they're going through a lot of shit. Maybe, yeah, that might be a different scenario. But if they've moved on, they have their own lives. It's like, years later when they're adults and they don't even think about you anymore. That's the scenario I'm talking about, where it's like, I'm not part of their life anymore. So what does this apology mean to them at this point? That's my example.
So
But-
you think it was like
She made
I don't
us
know.
this
I
mistake.
still feel like I would have
Made it worse.
like when I see things like that, I feel I have more respect for the human race when people do that. It's like if like someone's a bully in high school and then they picked on all these people and then years later they go back and they say something, and I treated you like crap, when we were kids. I do apologize. And even though that person probably already got over it and they probably went on with their life, I'm sure on some level, even though it's probably more self-serving to the person who's giving the apology. I don't know. I feel like if that was me, I'd feel, like I said, that feeling of respect and appreciation, even though it might not affect anything in my life from that point on anyway. It would just make me feel better about humans in general.
So I can speak to that as someone who was a bully.
That's a good example.
Literally did that.
you were a bully?
So, yeah, growing up, I was a bully
Oh wow.
in Trinidad. And what I did so many years later, now, Facebook comes out, I realize, like, holy shit, I can, like, look for people. Like, type in their name and I could tell, like, just type in something. I found all of the people that I bullied and I messaged them and I added them. And I wrote them this long thing. Because, I mean, my life was flipped upside down. I was, like, first in class. I was the funny guy. I was a class clown, yet I was first in class, like, very popular. I bullied everybody. Like, well, not everybody, but I bullied the people that people bullied. Because I wanted recognition from the cool kids who were my friends. So I would do anything to make them laugh. Anyways, case in point, I messaged all of them, and I thought about that too. Like, I just wanted them to know. I just wanted them to know that I am not an asshole, and that I regret what I did. Like, I remember certain things. I made this one girl cry, and like, at the end, like right before we moved, we were finished with that school. She moved, like, from the country. And I thought, and I wrote this in the message too, when I found out you moved, I thought that I made you move because I bullied you so bad. And I mean, she replied and she was like, she appreciated what I said, and she's like, don't worry, I didn't lose, it hurt, but I didn't lose sleep. That's what she said. I didn't lose sleep over you, don't worry. And to me, that felt so good. Like, it felt good that I didn't force someone to do something drastic in their life, because bullying can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And one guy, like, he became friends on Facebook with me, but he didn't reply. But
Mm-hmm.
he's still friends. So I'm like, but at least he's friends. So yeah, maybe it was the reverse effect with him. Maybe we used to fight a lot, and yeah, like he trained at a different karate studio, and like we had this like beef. But I always won because I had like a gang with me, basically. But yeah, I think that's probably why I sympathize with Sharon, because I feel if someone ghosted me and didn't really know that ghosting was bad, like why it was bad, and they contacted me years later and they're like, "Yo, I didn't really know this is what some guy did to me, so I thought this is how you deal with relationships that don't work." I would feel good, and I would be cool with that, and it wouldn't be like, "Thanks for bringing up this past scar." It'd be like, "Oh, I really thought like you were like this,
Bitch.
yeah, this bitch was doing bitch things." And so good to know that you're not a bitch now, and you're coming at me and you're apologizing and you realize it's bad. That's pretty cool. Good to know you're not a bitch anymore.
Key word there was anymore.
I think in that scenario, in any of these scenarios of bringing it up again, if you like bumped into each other and somehow had to interact, I would feel like that would be the probably the opportune time, because then yeah, it was out of control. It'd be like, oh yeah, it was out of the control. It was chance that the encounter happened. I think the deliberate approach, I just have a differing. Well, again, there's degrees of it, obviously, you know, where it's just be ghosting, or if it was bullying, or if it was cheating, or, you know, there's degrees, I guess. There's degrees. But yeah, it's true though, like the face of anyone self-respecting, you know, anyone who grew up from being bullied, or who grew up after having to endure being ghosted or being treated wrong, and now they're adults and they're good human beings, and you're trying to be a good human being by owning up to your shit. I mean, you can't really expect anything different but a mature answer. If you don't get a mature answer, is that worse or better? I don't know. Did that really make a difference, you think? It could make a difference. I don't know, actually. It's just thinking out loud. Anyway.
Yeah, it's very subjective.
Yeah.
Like, completely. It's a very gray thing. There's no black and white in this topic. Like, I can see your view 100%. Like you and DayDay. I see it, for sure.
Makes sense. It makes sense on both sides. It does. There we go. 2 hard proofs karma exists. You would have kept ghosting if it never happened to you.
Yeah, probably.
Would you?
Yeah, how would I know, right?
But I mean, like, you knew what ignoring means. Like, who doesn't know what ignoring means?
I was really, really young. I obviously wasn't thinking about other person's perspective. I was just thinking about me and my core.
Right.
I was pretty young too as a bully. Just to let you know, time frame is like 8, 9, and 10 years old.
Oh, damn.
I was really young.
What
Yeah.
a jerk.
Well, what happened was, see, this is like, you know, you say karma and how strange my thought process was. So I was a bully. I was like this super materialistic. I needed brand name stuff. My hair needed to be like perfect, and like I needed to look like perfect before I went to school. Like I was like a girl almost.
Such a different Kyle. I've
Like,
never
not a
seen him
girl,
like
but
this.
like a beauty queen.
At 8, 9, 10.
So I used to be like this. I used to be so vain. You know, I used to like comb my hair to find like the perfect part, and like I'd have this perfect part. Anyways, so like I moved to Canada, and the second year in Canada, my sister dies. That's what I meant when my life just flipped. Like, I literally flipped in my head. You know, everything about materialism just went whoop. And like everything about bullying and being cool, whoop, like immediately. Because I find out through trauma and grief and loss what really should matter. And so it was like a switch. And after that, I am who I am. Like, I can give two shits about brand names and looks, right? Like, and that's how I became who you know. And it's just odd to, like, it's probably hard for y'all to believe this other person that I was. It's
Yeah, I
really
can't picture it.
strange.
Yeah.
180.
But yeah, I mean, so there's karma that way. You know, like my little 12-year-old head thinking like, I did this. Maybe it's because I was an asshole. Maybe, you know, they say, oh, God only takes the good ones. That's when I started thinking of all the weird stuff. Like, I can't be too good, because God will take me too. I have to do some shitty stuff. Like, I thought like that growing up. Like, till pretty late. Like even like later years in high school, I would think like that. Because I thought about all these weird karma things. I was like, okay, if I'm too good, I'm gonna die. I need to do some, like, if I had a stretch of being too good, I would purposely do some shitty stuff.
Oh.
Very weird things that happen in a little boy's mind
Mm.
to deal with trauma and grief. But that, you know, that's a different podcast, to be honest. But I'll stop there.
Yeah, man. That's heavy.
Yeah, sorry. Not so much to do with rejection there, but the bullying stuff, the vanity, yeah.
If the apology comes, you know, to atone for the shitty behavior you did in the past, and if your apology was rejected, what then? I'm just curious. What do you think the mindset would be? If they, not like, oh, thanks for bringing it up again, but let's just say it was just like, oh, I didn't really need that, but okay. And then, or they ghost you, or they just ignore the message, or they don't say anything. I'm just wondering what, if you were prepared for that. You know, like when you send something like that, you obviously have a hope that the response will be accept. Well, yeah, that it will be well received. You hope that your note would be well received. But did you somehow have some level of preparation if it wasn't going to be well received? Like, were you ready? Let's say if they didn't take it well. Did you wonder about that?
Like the same one kid that I fought all the time, he never messaged me back, so I assumed that he didn't really, you know, take the apology.
Right.
But he stayed my friend, so I'm like, he could message me whenever he wants, and he knows that. Although I don't use Facebook anymore, so shit. But I mean, he can find me on Instagram too. Like, once he knows that the door is open for conversation, that's cool. If he literally hates me, he deserves to hate me, and I deserve to be hated by him. So I came with an apology. He doesn't have to accept it, so that's what I went in with. If you accept it, then cool. Then we can be friends. We can talk more. Like, I would love to sit down and talk with that guy for like a day or more. Like, just talking about what happened during like our childhood and how it affected him and how shitty I feel and what he's done since then. I would love to know. But if he doesn't want to talk, then what can I do? So he didn't want to talk, but he still accepted the friendship on Facebook. Cool. At least it's something, and that's all I can ask for.
Sharon?
I messaged those people that I hurt without thinking that they're gonna reply to me. I didn't expect it at all. And to get that respond, I was really like, I thanked them. I was like, thank you for even replying to my message. Like honestly, like when I sent those messages, I was like, they're probably not gonna even read it or delete it, but like I thought I just wanted them to know that I was sorry for what I did, and that's it. It didn't matter if they were gonna
If they responded or not, yeah.
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 So yeah.
Cool. So one thing I do want to say to YouTube out there and anybody who watches this, don't ghost. Please just don't ghost. It's just a little bit of consideration. I think we've all learned that. You know, straightforward is the best, but at the very least, don't ignore. Don't leave anyone unread, or read, on read, or read or whatever. And yeah, don't bully. If you're a bully out there, please stop. So, and yeah. And hopefully you guys all take rejection better. Yeah. If you want this link, I'll put this in the description of this article about tips on what to do when you get rejected. Anyone else want to say anything? Share anything?
And one-itis. Link the one-itis thing too.
Oh, one-itis too? What? I still don't.
Yeah, I gotta read that.
I don't know if that's pertaining.
Yeah, just don't get stuck on one girl. It's easier to take rejection.
Oh, is that? Oh, I guess it amplifies rejection. Yeah, it's pertinent. I can link that too.
So play the field. Got
It's
it.
Juggle.
not so hard to
So
do
be a
though.
player. Got it.
To get like
So be Paul.
like
Just kidding, Paul. Just kidding.
one girl.
Homework. Okay. Pursue.
No, if you're meeting someone, if you're dating people, it's...
Just people, so you have to date multiple people.
No, I'm just saying if you get rejected, you have to understand there's other people out there, not just that one girl.
What lessons not to get
That's
from
really
this
hard
talk?
to do, though.
Well, okay. The one-itis thing though.
No, it's
I don't know.
if you get hung up on a girl, that's when it applies.
But if you are both on monogamous terms and are both like pursuing one in both direction, what about that? Is that still one-itis?
No, that's different because it's different. I'm saying it applies when you get rejected by someone and you're dwelling on that one person that you think is the
Oh, it's after rejection.
After
Okay.
rejection.
Oh,
It's not the
after.
pursuit.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's-
It's not the
Well,
pursuit.
same with the
Okay.
pursuit. Like you're just chasing this one girl that you think is perfect, but she's not. I mean, it's the same thing if you get rejected.
Also, it's different to one gina as well.
It's different from one Jack.
Oh, I was thinking the
unrequited love.
one-itis is like more of a destructive relationship type thing, and the person just doesn't see it.
Well, pedestal for sure is. It's tricky. It's tricky.
Oh,
Yeah.
unrequited love. Okay, I see.
Unrequited love.
I
Yeah,
see.
one-itis.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
think there's only
yeah.
one person that is meant for you, but
So you're madly in love with this girl, but she just doesn't feel it.
No.
Oh, it's like parasocial relationships, Ren. Last night's talk.
I love Sasha Grey. I'm going to marry her.
Donation.
Cheer times 1,000 bits.
All right. Well, this was a cool turnout, guys. Thank you. I didn't see this coming, which was nice. A nice turnout. We'll see you guys again next week. So again, BrackCast is just an opportunity for us to come online, dedicate some time to talk on a more serious, intellectual, deeper level. Like we all trust each other here in terms of what we share, and like there's this level of respect also in what we're sharing with each other next time on Dragon Ball Z. But yeah, I just realized in past podcasts we didn't really I never really explained why we get together on these Thursdays, so just a summary there. We meet up regularly on Discord, and this is our gaming group, but we do understand that with our maturity and now we're all adults, we do have more insight to share and valuable information, I think, experience to share that hopefully other people watching this in the future can learn from. So that's why we do this. We missed Warren on this one, but he's here with us in spirit. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Anyone else want to say anything?
Warren always brings
If you
up
get
poop.
rejected, just know that you rock, and you get over it. You find something better.
If they reject you, they don't deserve you. That's all. Like, build on your own self-worth, define what you're worth, and you can take rejection a lot better. I think it helps.
Or if it's your fault, fix it.
Yeah, that too. That too.
Yeah.
Or if it's
Your fault for
Have
getting
that
rejected.
self-awareness.
Oh yeah, own up too. Yeah,
So
own
if
up to
there's
your
a clear-
mistakes.
Yeah, if there's
Yeah.
a clear thing that you messed up on, then just work on that.
Self-improvement and self-reflection and self-love.
And self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
All right.
That was a good one.
Thanks for watching.